Hi guys, welcome back to another technical analysis video here on Cardano's 𝗓𝗂. So yesterday we did see a bit of a good run for 𝗓𝗂. We actually hit take profit on our trade, so we saw an 8.01% move. For anyone who is aware, our last technical analysis video was on Wednesday. We were looking for an entry at around 76.72, stop loss down at 72.85, take profit at 83.08. And so you can see here another very profitable trade from our entry point up here to the high around 8.42% with a little bit of leverage. It's not too bad. And of course, anyone who is in the Discord server in the profit pit will know the exact entry and exit that I took on this trade. So a fantastic run so far. And well, it's some interesting kind of things that I think are likely to happen next. So let's go ahead and clear the board and start with the next opportunity. Okay, so we still have these higher range expectations. They haven't really changed too much, but I am a little bit nervous over what I am seeing going on here from an Elliott wave point of view. It's looking strong, it's looking good. I'm not terribly too concerned, but I do suspect that this is some kind of diagonal based pattern towards this kind of finishing structure, which is actually in line with our macro views anyway. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to measure our distance here. We'll pull this over into this one over this side. You can see here that it is a little bit short of where it needs to go, which was 83.47 to 85. But you know, I think this isn't an all that difficult to kind of see a reversals here. We have overlap now in the price action as well. So it's going to be one of those. I'm looking for a small correction. I think we have the ability to be moving back towards the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, briefly losing those into the previous support range, coming in down here. Let's go ahead and draw those in, pull that across, coming in between the 76.93 and 77.56. Ultimately, our Elliott wave structure would say that would be more between 77.38 and 78.15, but I think actually we're probably going to drop down just a fraction more into this previous pocket of demand. Okay, so essentially what we've seen here historically is previous resistance. Okay, well, previous support, turn to resistance, turn back to resistance, briefly breakout, turn to support, and then rally, right? So what we're looking at here is essentially that kind of continuation as we look to push up a little bit higher. Our moves to the upside are going to be deemed ABC. Actually, it's not. It's going to be deemed WXY, sorry. W, X, and Y. It doesn't really matter, but essentially that's what it is, three-wave structure. And then we're looking for a three-wave structured point to the downside. Again, we're looking at that kind of moving back into the resistances. So is the opportunity to go short or to go long? Well, let's take a look at this from a short wing point of view at the moment. Market value, you'd want your stop loss in a reasonable area. And we can't use this wick high at the moment because we haven't breached that low. If we breach the low, then we'd be a little bit more confident, but otherwise it would have to be up higher. And well, we can see here that the risk reward ratio just isn't going to be profitable for us. It's going to be too much risk for the little reward. So what we'd actually be looking at, I think, is long positions, looking at entering in and around this pocket of potential demand, and then we'll be looking to move back up into these higher ranges. Stop loss I'm going to put down lower than the previous swing low over here, which was the 12th of February at 1300 hours, and then I would be looking at potentially pushing out a little bit higher, more towards kind of 85.5 cents, something to that effect. There gives us a risk reward ratio of about 1.97, sorry. Okay, obviously it's a bit too soon to enter if we know this is exactly the place to do it or not, so we'll be putting obviously this trade down in the profit pit in the free Discord server. For those who are unfamiliar with that, basically we have a free Discord server that's linked in the description down below. And if you are actively trading using one of the exchanges that we have an affiliate link with, that being BitGet, Blowfin, Mexi, Bybit, whatever it is, all linked in the description down below and in the Discord server. If you're using one of those exchanges through our affiliate links, well, you can gain access to the profit pit, which essentially is an area where Chris, JB, myself are documenting out the actual trades that we are taking. This is above and beyond the membership stuff that we do over at Cheeky Crypto. On Cheeky Cryptos memberships, we have live trading sessions in the Discord server for a couple of hours, Monday through Friday. And basically, in those sessions, we identify other trading opportunities, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're taking all of those opportunities, but they're opportunities that you guys are looking for. We chart them up for you, and there are things for you to kind of make your own decisions on. When it comes to our own trading, we might do some of those trades, but we also might do something different. And that's essentially what Profit Pit is all about. So check it out. It's all in the free Discord server, linked in the description down below if you want to know exactly what moves that I am doing, my entries, my exits, my stop losses, my leverage, the risk tolerances, all that kind of stuff is all in the Profit Pit. So this is the general idea anyway. I think for the most part, the idea will be to go long, not to go short. The short is high risk, low reward, which is not what you want. We want to be going long, which have higher rewards versus the risk. And of course, we want to make sure that we're in a decent position. So with that being said, we'll remove this off the chart for now because it's not the best position to be thinking about that until we get into these lower ranges, specifically how the price is going to react around the 50 EMA, 50 SMA. Now, if we turn on smart money concepts here, we can see that there is this huge pocket of demand in these lower ranges. There's also a fair value gap just north of the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, so we'll probably grab that and fill that out. There are some fair value gaps a little bit lower on the chart as well, as something to keep in mind. Overall, though, we have a bullish structure on the 1 hour time frame. Obviously, something to kind of note. We have weak highs. We have equilibrium sat down lower than that previous wick low as well. So this is something that I think we are likely to go after, just not right away. Okay, so we want to keep that in mind, that I think there's a little push higher before we have a complete collapse in the market. And let's say collapse, it's not going to be like a massive drop, but I do think we're going to have a nice healthy correction soon. Even though we're not yet above $1, which I do think is on the horizon. Like I say, since we kind of had that correction in the market, it's basically now put us in a liquidity extraction kind of mode for ADA, and of course many other altcoins as well, where basically we're going to see pumps and then crashes, and then pumps and crashes and pumps and crashes, and it's going to be kind of a repeat process throughout the year, in my opinion, as we gradually work our way up into all-time highs, much like 2017 for Bitcoin. Okay, so anyway, on this chart, it's very interesting. Our stochastic RSI on the 1 hour time frame is still progressing downwards. On the 4 hour, we have got loads of progression to the downside to be seen, but it's not in the worst position at the moment. So I'm not terribly too concerned about that just yet. Okay, so bring this back to our 1 hour, turn off the stocks, bring in the RSI. Here you can see that we could find support on the 50 level of the relative strength index, but I do think we have to move down a little bit more before we see that. Now, it's possible, of course, that the previous resistances that coming in right around here turn into support, which would actually mean that we find support on the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, which does mean that our long idea might actually be something that we enter in slightly earlier, which is why we want to make sure that we are positioning ourselves accordingly. And of course, I will document in the free Discord server in the Profit Pit what I think is going to be the best, well, at least what I'm doing, where I'm positioning myself on this one. Because until I see how these candles react to the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, and specifically this previous area of resistance, are we breaking through, turning it to support? Are we losing that and coming back down to the actual support levels? These are the things that we need to kind of consider. The 200 EMA is, of course, right below that previous support level as well. So we want to make sure that we position ourselves accordingly, right? RSI tells us that we could bounce from here and see more bullish momentum entering in for ADA. Now, when it comes to our MACD histogram, here we can, of course, see that things are looking like a kind of big breakout is on the horizon, okay? So even right now, we were kind of looking at this previously. If I draw this in with the kind of newest data, we still haven't really changed much here. So we are looking for a significant surge to the upside. You guys know that I am targeting out basically upwards towards $1.20. on the breakout. It's just a case of waiting to see how this is going to materialize. Is it going to continue to kind of see these kind of corrections, or are we going to be, enjoying kind of a more rapid move to the upside? Now, I'm already long on a daily time frame. Okay, if I roll this up into a daily, right, I'm already long here on the daily time frame, and we are looking for good progression to the upside to kind of take into consideration this next big run. Now, obviously on the daily time frame, we do have resistance sitting up here between $1.08 and $1.18. This is where I think we're going to first of all kind of fizzle out a little bit before pulling back down, and then finally pushing up higher than the kind of yearly high that we have at the moment, or the end of 2024, I should say, at $1.32, because we are likely to be pushing out in a really big bullish way. So on our chart here, we have the ABC structure taking us out to that $1.32. We have a three-wave drop to the bottom here. We are likely to see a bit of a push to the upside. I mean, I'm hopeful with overlapping the price action at the moment. What I am targeting is going to be a significant surge out towards $9.25.5, which I know is going to really scare off some of the haters in the Cardano ecosystem, because how dare I suggest that we get close to $10? Do I know what the market cap would be, and all that kind of nonsense? But for the most part, we're looking for three waves here. I reckon we'll get rejected from the previous high, have a bit of a pullback, and then we'll have that next surge to the upside. 1.618 is 925, and we could actually theoretically just land somewhere between $3 and $4.65. There is also that as a conservative area to kind of keep in mind. But for the most part, if we do start to see a big significant breakout, or some fundamental reason as to why there's a significant shift in the demand and supply metrics for Cardano, well, we could see ADA truly surging out towards that 1.618 target range. Obviously, it's a little bit of hope, because obviously this structure here can only really be one of three patterns: contracting diagonal, expanding diagonal, or ending diagonal. This is based on a multi-year view. If you really do zoom out from 2020 up into the highs of 2021, that is a 5-wave pattern. We know that we can't have 5 waves on their own. Therefore, we had the bear market, and we're looking for 5 waves. The current structure here, to be fair, there are a couple of other options that could go on, but I'm kind of narrowed this down to diagonals at the minute. It's possible that this is going to do something so crazy that I can't fathom what that looks like, which could put us out to $38, $50, something like that. Don't want to really kind of say that's a high possibility, but there's always that kind of wild card scenario that is playing out here, which is nested situations. So let me show you just briefly. Wave 1, wave 2, you have some kind of really big, crazy wave 3, 4, and 5 like this, because the internal workings is wave 1, wave 2. We have some kind of wave 3, 4, and 5 just to complete out the wave 3. You correct for 4 and go up into 5, right? Something crazy like that. I don't think that's realistic, but it's something that I have to kind of consider as a wild card situation. For the most part, we are going to target out, on the conservative side, between $3 and $4.65, with 925 being the impulsive point for the kind of ending diagonal situation. So I am long on the daily time frame. I've been long for the daily time frame for about a week or 2 weeks or weeks, something like that, along with a whole host of other altcoins as well, XLM, HBAR, etc., etc. And see, it's all documented in the profit pit if you're interested in knowing exactly what is going on. And some of them are in losses at the minute, but that's okay, because I expect to see that on the daily time frame. I'm not trying to snipe the perfect entry here on the daily. All I'm trying to do is capture a lot of this liquidity that I see surging to the upside. Our momentum on Cardano's daily chart is back up in overbought. This is not ideal, so we could potentially be seeing a little bit more of a wobble here before we see this next big surge, so we want to keep that in mind. But on the weekly time frame, well, we are now in the oversold area. The last time that we were here was July of 2024, which was, we did see August kind of bottoming out a little bit before we saw this fantastic surge to the upside. The time before that was September 2023. We know what happened there, and the time before that was also December 2022, which we know what happened there as well. So there's still significant growth in this market. This is not a bearish market. This is definitely a bullish market, but I think we have to be patient. We have to kind of wait for some of these kind of markets to correct, which I think is essentially what is going on. And I expect to see a kind of 2017 kind of market-esque approach to trading, I think, anyway. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts at the moment on Cardano. So that's kind of going to wrap up today's video. But if you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. And if you haven't done so already, guys, you're going to want to check out the latest Cardano news. I'll link it right here. It's one you're not going to want to miss.